Sports, Clicks, and Politics. With your host, Hussong, and me, Shawn Hannon. Welcome to episode 124 of Sports, Clicks, and Politics. A truncated, viewed edition of Sports, Clicks, and Politics. Okay, good. For those playing at home on the video tubes, let me know if you can actually see anything or see us full screen. If you can't see us, then there's a problem. I can fix that, I think, live as we do this. But other than that, Mr. Hussong, how was your weekend?
Not ideal.
Not ideal. We'll get to that in the first segment of the show here. But
outside of that, it was a good weekend.
Excellent. Well, very good. We'll get into that part of the weekend. Let me remind everybody that I am Shawn Hannon, and this is Ben Hussong. We are the host of Sports, Clicks, and Politics. And if you could do us a favor and the show a favor, it would be great if you could leave us a 5-star rate and review if you're listening to us home on the audio version, and also subscribe to the channel wherever you're listening or watching, Rumble, YouTube, whatnots, wherever. Did you get feedback on the we're good?
Good.
Talented, I guess, unknowingly.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. So as long as people can see us and the charming face of Mr. Hussong, we're in business. So again, leave us share the video, like the video, help us out with the algorithm overlords, and get the show out to some other people there. So
why not?
So tell me something good about the weekend, other than we'll get into the bad, but what was it good?
I mean, most of the weekend was good. Did some stuff at the ice cream shop, had some parties to do.
I had a holiday party this weekend.
That you worked at or that you attended?
No, not that I attended. I worked. We hosted.
Ah, I see.
They're still rocking holiday parties. I still have all my lights and poinsettias up.
What holiday are you celebrating at this point?
It's the holidays of December where they're like, we're too busy in December. We're gonna have our holiday and our party holiday and thing. But yeah, it was.
I don't know. I feel like you're far enough removed at this point. You got to call it something else. Just don't do a holiday party and just have a New Year party.
Sure, that seems fair. They were drinkers.
What kind of business was it?
We're not going to say.
Fair enough.
I don't want to out any of the people here that might be listening at home on the.
I admire your discretion.
But it was a good day. So, other than that, I watched some football. I didn't have any really kind of vested interest other than my DraftKings team, which I knew was over pretty much on day one since I had, I don't know, I can't remember now, but I knew it was over. So, I don't know. You want to touch on some NFL here real quick?
Yeah, my whole day was bad, all right? Like, it was just from the get-go, like, I was decided, all right, you know what? We're going to make a whole day of this. I'm going to do homemade French onion soup. We're going to do homemade, like, sourdough pizza. Like, I'm going to get after this today. We're going to have a day. Screwed up the French onion soup so bad it was unbelievable. My wife, who loves French onion soup, it's like her favorite food in the world, literally ate her bowl and was like, oh, it's good. And then I had a bowl and I was like, this is not good. And so now I got my confirmation, because when I had to go to a meeting for baseball last night, for youth baseball, and she cleaned up the kitchen and like put away the leftover food, the entire bowl of soup in the Dutch oven did not get put into the fridge. So that is now garbage. Like, yeah, that was bad. All right, we got to try that one again.
Yeah, I've been there.
Bad day all the way around, right from the get-go. The pizza was okay, but it left a little bit desired, but it was much better than the soup. And then the Bills come out, and I was just wondering, I wonder what team they game planned for, because it doesn't seem to be the Bengals.
Yeah, it was, I feel like the first quarter and a half, maybe the whole first half, was just dissecting their defense like at will. They could just literally do anything they wanted, right?
It's unbelievable. Yeah. I've never seen like the 2 touchdowns in the first quarter for the Bengals. On neither play was there a Bills defender within 10 yards of the wide receiver as they like breezed into the end zone. I get that's probably not a scheme problem. That's probably somebody messed up and somebody went to the wrong place.
You had a snowy conditions there as well, right? Listen, I saw Diggs get open a couple times and just got missed, right? So like the adage is the offensive player knows where they're going, so they have a little bit of an advantage over the defensive player.
Sure.
But I felt like I did see a little bit of that, but I don't know. It didn't seem like that wasn't the deciding factor by the ways.
The Bills just got outplayed, outcoached more than anything else, and then outplayed. I still am a believer in Leslie Frazier. I'm not calling for Leslie Frazier to be fired.
What if he gets another job?
I mean, good for him. He's done very well. And the Bills' defense, for all of whatever you could say about it, they were still very highly ranked. They were still missing Von Miller, Micah Hyde, they were missing Poyer. A lot of people went down throughout the season. The idea that they were still playing at that level was impressive. And ultimately, let's be clear, you weren't going to beat the Bengals by scoring 10 points. No. You can only have so much expectation on your defense. The other hand, Ken Dorsey, I can't. I can't with this guy anymore. There's been no improvement throughout the year of just every play has to be 20 yards or nothing. And it's like the entire offensive game plan is predicated on Josh is fast and throws far. So we're just going to send everybody deep, and if somebody's open, great. But if not, Josh Allen will just run. There was never a better indicator of this than on the 4th and 2 play, and they go for the end zone. And they're forcing throws. They're playing hero ball. And you're like, all right, this is where the turnovers happen. And listen, Josh Allen is great. Genuinely a great talent. He's not great enough that you can just do whatever you feel like. The amount of pressure that this guy is under, because every pattern is 20 yards deep. They don't just do a 5-yard slant ever. Meanwhile, the Bengals are literally carving up the underneath of the Bills' defense and holding the ball for 30 minutes, getting 30 first downs, and moving it at will. Do
you think any of those underneath or lack of underneath was lack of personnel, i.e. Cole Beasley all year? I know they got him at the end, but that was kind of his forte, right? Where you could get him, him and Knox, you could run over the middle, short passes, you could get him there when need be. But
you could do it with Isaiah McKenzie too.
Yeah, but they kind of
he can't catch. That's
I was gonna say he's great when you just hand him the ball off in a jet sweep. But than that. And Shakir is just still young, right? I don't know his whole thing, but he seemed to he had a couple good catches there. But I felt like Beasley he's the guy you need, all teams need, not Beasley specifically, but a guy like that who's quick, not fast, who can get open over the middle,
right,
catch the ball sure-handed, and just get down and get on. It's a short run play in a sense.
That was it's been the most frustrating thing for me all season is just it's as if they decide there's no plan. It's just whatever play I feel like right now might work, and there's not 3 steps ahead at any point. You're running.
I may have asked you this before. Do you know how much flexibility Allen has at the line of scrimmage to call
sure
the play?
A lot.
Okay, but some of it might be him. That being said,
some of it.
The coach, if he knows the guy is making
don't
wrong
send
decisions,
in those plays. Here's an idea.
Because Roethlisberger went through this for a long time, where they would send him in a slate of plays and be like, okay, run one of these, and then he would figure it out at the line. He would invariably throw the 4th and 2 bomb all the time. It seemed like he threw 4th and 2 bombs. I'm going to guess 10 times in his career that I watched. I'm sure it happened many other times when I wasn't paying attention. So
it's mad. I don't mind going for it every now and then.
Yeah, I like going for it. I think it's
I don't even
mathematically
mind on 4th and 2 going for the end zone. The problem is it's so predictable, and if you look at the play, there was not one receiver not in the end zone. Guys, the game is over as of right now because you had to have it all on this play, and everybody knew that's what you were going to do. There was no doubt whatsoever that was going to be your play. Their running backs for the season: Devin Singletary averaged 4.6 yards per carry. James Cook averaged 5.6 yards per carry. All right, why don't we run? It's not a problem that we can't. They physically can run the ball. They both are at healthy averages from scrimmage. They should be able to run the ball. Our offensive line is abysmal, and it has been bad all season. But this is where coaching comes into play, because Cincinnati was playing with a guy off the street on their offensive line, and Joe Burrow never got touched because the plays all had the ball coming out in 2 seconds or less. Instead, we got to watch Josh Allen 12 times a game, is staying in the pocket so long, he stands flat-footed. He gets tired of bouncing, and he just goes flat-foot, and then he's got to run, and then he's got to go all over the place and fling the ball. That is a coaching failure. That is the plays that you're designing are leading to this. And if you know that Josh Allen is going to call out of RPOs and he's always going to take the ball himself or throw it, then just call a 22 dive. Don't even give him the option. Look, you got to hand the ball off, Josh. At some point, it's not about, we don't need 8 yards on this play. We've got to establish this somewhat so that we can buy you more time in the pocket. That's the whole idea. Some type of back and forth. Instead, it's just, oh, there goes Josh. Oh, they're coming in on him.
Listen,
spun out of that one. Got out. Oh, he's running. Oh, no, he's flinging it. And the guy can flick the ball with a wrist and go 50 yards downfield on a line. It's unbelievable. But stop making him do it.
Yeah. I mean, you get enamored with it.
Yes.
And you're like, all right, well, I've seen this happen already, and let's get it again.
Dak Prescott ended up with a very similar record to the Buffalo Bills and advanced as far into the playoffs as the Buffalo Bills. And Dak Prescott is not good. But they do this wonderful thing where they don't ask him to do everything, and it works out well. So imagine if we could just try that for a while. And then when the game's on the line and you need Josh Allen to take over, he could probably do it because he hasn't been doing it for the previous 55 minutes of game that he's been trying to carry the entire team. Also, they got to throw the ball to Stephon Diggs more. I don't know why they throw that. Like, give that man 15 targets a game.
Yeah, there's been games where he gets them. So, but listen, sometimes teams will just run a safety over the top and take certain players out of the scheme, and you're going to have to throw underneath. I mean, if I was playing against the Bills, I would rather get beat by Gabe Davis and Cole Beasley and Dawson Knox all day, every day.
Of course you would.
So I'm going to run this. So, but that happens. Listen, the Bengals have probably a better receiving core than the Bills.
Yeah.
I mean, their number 2 is the number 1 on most teams. So, you can't do that to the Bengals because they'll just beat you with the other guy.
Right.
I don't know. Like I said, I do think, and we've talked about this pretty much all year, or at least about halfway through the year, where we thought there was pretty much 5 teams that could win it, and 4 of them are in there, and the only one that didn't is the Bills. So The other 4 teams are, no shockers here whatsoever. I guess the most shocking of the 4 is Brock Purdy, because he's Brock Purdy, right? I mean, but we had called the Niners as being like a Super Bowl contender midseason when they had their Garoppolo was still manning the helm there or whatever. So
it's another good example of coaching away the deficiencies of, all right, you have this team set up to win so that even when you're on your 3rd string, last pick in the draft, rookie quarterback, that you just adjust the game plan to suit him. And it's all right, well, this is what they're going to do, so we're going to counteract that by we're still going to win. And that's what I don't see out of the Bills coaching staff right now. The entire offensive game plan is Josh is big and fast and throws far. That can't be your offense. I get Ken Dorsey is brand new. It's his first year. But at some point, you had how many games did they play? 19 with the playoffs? You couldn't figure this out at some point? Oh, sorry.
Like I said, yeah. I always want the New York teams to win just because I'm a homer, and we were 0-2 this weekend because the Giants didn't even show up at all.
That was not great.
No, but not shocking either. I mean, I've always thought the Eagles were the best team in the NFC, regardless of where we were with the Niners, especially after Brock Purdy thing. I have no reason to think differently today. I think they're going to beat the Niners. I don't know. Who do you have a take in the AFC?
In the AFC?
Yeah. Do you agree with me that the Eagles are the favorite, or at least your favorite, or are you on the Niners?
I'm going to go with the Niners. I think Philadelphia is a good team, but it's so hard to know. For their schedule was so easy that it's hard to say, like, all right, what are they going to do against?
Do we know the Niners' schedule was difficult?
More difficult than the Eagles. Everybody had an easier or a harder schedule than the Eagles.
Well, how is that possible if the NFC East had multiple playoff teams in there and the NFC West is terrible? Maybe the rest of their schedule made up for it a little bit.
The rest of the schedule made up for it.
But still, the Eagles played the Cowboys twice and the Giants twice. Are in the playoffs.
I get it, but the Giants and the Seahawks are basically the same team. It's a coin toss, right? Like, let's just call that what it is. It
overachieving.
Just as easily gone the other way on that one.
Yeah.
So those two are a wash. And as I said, I think the Cowboys are a very good team, but they're not great. And they're not going to be great until they get a new quarterback. Sorry, Dak. If only you had a ton of money to sympathize with you while people online talk smack.
It's in Zeke's bank account.
Oh, God, talk about overpaying people. I can't imagine.
I don't know, Pollard. I don't know. Did we have it? I watched it and then I had to turn it off because I didn't want to hear that. It looked like he broke his ankle. Did you see that last night?
I didn't see that last night.
He went down early in the game. It did not look good.
Oh, I was at the baseball meeting for most of the Cowboy-Eagles game, so I didn't see much of it. I only saw a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know how much that says out 3 months with broken leg. So yeah, it was not good.
Yeah,
I had him
Batman.
on my fantasy team.
Listen, Zeke should probably give that guy some money. Like, let's just be real.
You could at least sign the cast, then you could auction it off.
Obviously. I like where your head's at.
I don't know. I don't really have anything about the Jaguars Chiefs game. I was glad the Jags kind of hung around as a young, spunky little team to, I don't know, just show up. You know, I mean, I like when teams show up. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I expected Kansas City to win that game, and, you know, it was much closer than obviously, I think anybody had expected.
Bengals turned out to be.
But again, okay, so you say you want the Niners to win, or you think the Niners are going to win?
I'm going to cheer for the Niners, and
Okay.
I think the Niners will. If I was going to gamble on this one, I would put it on the 49ers.
Okay, and then AFC?
AFC, I'm going to go with the Bengals just because Joe Burrow and Patrick, he seems to be the only person that
I think the Chiefs' defense is bad, actually.
I don't think
or
they're
at least
good
exploitable.
Yes.
I don't like. I mean, listen, Mahomes could, just like Allen, can make any throw anytime, and you can be like, okay, well, Mahomes just won because he's that talented. But I think it's Bengals.
I think it's the Bengals too because I think I didn't watch a lot of Joe Burrow. Like, I don't watch a lot of Cincinnati
good.
Bengals games,
He's
so
good.
I know he's good. I've
I've seen him more only because I watch
watched
the Steelers a little bit more. But
watching him against the Bills last night was literally eye-opening for me. Of the ball comes out so fast and he gets through progressions so fast. You literally better have the top D line in football, or else you need to blitz him because this guy just processes the information so quickly.
yeah, Romo was making freaking Manning comparisons.
It was unbelievable. And the ball comes out accurately and they just move.
Yeah.
And Joe Mixon's a great running back. They've got weapons all over the place. And their defense, like,
Do you think he was at LSU when Jamarcus Russell was there?
no.
They were not there at the same time.
No. There was no way they were
Well,
there at
Burrow's
the same
old.
time.
Like, he wasn't like a young. Like,
yeah, but
he wasn't like
Jamarcus Russell was,
he came out. I don't know.
that was a long time ago, I think.
I just wanted to know if they gave him the start over Joe Burrow. But anyway. All right. So if we get Niners Bengals, that could be a rematch of Super Bowl in the 80s.
The catch.
That was the Cowboys.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it was the NFC Championship game. Yeah, the Cowboys lost the catch game.
Oh, you're
Dwight
right.
Clark.
You're right.
But then
they went to this.
But the Niners played the Bengals in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's what I mean. All right,
Twice,
see,
I
I'm
feel
good.
like already. But anyway, I don't know. I want to see Eagles. I think the Eagles are the best team. I think the Eagles are the best team left.
You think
Because
so?
I thought the Bills were the best team, but now I think the Eagles.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are the best team. So
I think the Eagles might be the fourth best team left. I'm throwing shade. Casting shade? What's the right
guess.
word?
I don't know.
Whatever.
Both, I guess.
Sure. God, I'm cool.
All right. Let's switch gears a little bit to some things that we've talked about in the past. Just some updates, I guess, here. So one of them being our hometown hero, Alec Baldwin. What? You know he's from around here, right?
I did know that.
I mean, his mom, well, she's passed, right?
I think so.
But she used to be living, like, in your neighborhood.
She lived
Not like in your neighborhood,
no,
but you know.
only like 2 miles away, actually. Maybe not even.
there you go.
Yeah, she lived pretty close.
Were you ever invited over for, like barbecues?
I was not.
Were you living here then?
For a little bit. Yeah, we crossed each other's. Well, my time in Syracuse started before hers ended.
Gotcha. So, for those who may be unfamiliar, I doubt it, but Alec Baldwin charged with involuntary manslaughter after shooting Helena Hutchins on set of his movie Rust back, 6-8 months ago, I think it was. Do we think this leads to cuffs for Mr. Baldwin, or are you I don't know? I'm skeptical. Anytime there's like a celebrity after the OJ thing, I never think that anybody's ever going to get actually to the full extent of the law kind of thing. Like they just get treated differently.
Yeah.
So do you expect Alec Baldwin to ever serve any time?
Serve time? No. I think that he'll stand trial, but I think even if he was found guilty, it'll be community service and pay a fine. He's in the upper tier justice system that's not meant for the rest of us. So he's going to get there. And listen, ultimately, it's going to depend on the facts of the case. I know everybody has their mind made up on this one already, but you are in at least some level of gray area of what should he have known, how much was reasonable care neglected. And it looks like it was, shouldn't say this definitively, it looks bad.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea that you were intermixing live ammo and blanks, and that's like gun safety 101 is don't do that. Also is don't aim the gun at anything you're not intending on shooting. And I've heard different accounts of like they were filming a scene. I've heard he was making a joke like I ought to shoot you because she said we're going to do another scene. I mean, I don't know what the facts are, so I'm not going to opine.
Listen, I'm of the opinion that the video's out there of the shooting. If they're shooting, like I'm assuming the video is rolling and whatever, but I don't know that. I've heard other people hypothesize the same thing, that there's got to be some video of this, but that isn't necessarily, it doesn't have to be, but it seems like it's a high likelihood since you're shooting a movie.
And this is
full of cameras.
You would think so. There's probably some film of it laying around. And I guess that's the problem, is that as the executive producer of the movie, he also has some responsibility to ensuring that it's safe, and the star of the movie, and the fact that he's the one who ended up shooting her. And I think involuntary manslaughter is probably the right charge. And then I don't know if it'll be innocent or guilty, because like I said, I won't pretend to know every detail and every fact of this. I know it shouldn't have happened, and something went terribly wrong for this to have happened. This just should
on
not
multiple
happen.
levels.
Right. There's no way.
I mean, unless it was just he didn't like her and he set this up to kill her.
Also seems a little far-fetched.
I'm just saying, all the things line up for that all the things that would have had to happen for there to be an accident are all the same things that had to line up for him to do it on purpose.
You need to get outside.
I'm just saying.
All right? Like, you need to go talk to people in real life.
I had somebody try to, it's like 2 days after this happened, somebody literally tried to tell me how great of a person Alec Baldwin is, and I stopped him mid-sentence. I was like, he just killed a person. Like, stop. Literally, he was trying to like defend his family. I was like, listen, like, stop
right now. And listen, maybe he is a good person. I don't know, but it's a tragic mistake.
For sure.
And it's awful that it happened. But at some point, you do want to see some level of responsibility. And if he is not guilty, then he's not guilty. Again, if you're out here like bashing the walls about how terrible this is or wonderful this is, like, don't pretend like you know all the facts yet. Here's what I do think. I think that the state, the district attorney or whomever is deciding to press the charges, I don't think they have a lot to gain if this is a terrible case by bringing charges against Alec Baldwin. I don't think this is like some, let's go after him. It's not, there's not a needle movement here. He just happens to be a famous actor. So I think it's more likely that if here's a good example of this. When the Derek Chauvin trial with George Floyd, when they said murder too, I thought like, that's a reach. I don't think you're going to be able to do it. And I think it's ultimately going to get overturned on appeal. But it was like, look, we all saw it. You're claiming intent when it's pretty obvious he had no intention of killing this man. Like, you'd have to be the stupidest human being imaginable to intentionally murder somebody in front of 40 people. In reality, he was using a technique that has been long used by police officers inappropriately and doing something that it never met that standard, but you could see the pressure to do something and to go heavy. I don't feel that in this way. I don't think there's anybody that's claiming this. I think that it's Alec Baldwin is not exactly a lightning rod, even politically speaking. I don't.
Yeah, I think he is a little bit.
But I don't know
he's
where he
clearly
stands.
outspoken on a bunch of political topics and is no problem. He has no problem sticking his nose into opinions when the subjects of the opinions are people he don't like. Like, he'll pile on for sure.
I got you. Is he an anti-Trumper?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't pay much attention to Alec Baldwin's
I never watched 30 Rock,
things.
but apparently he plays like a Republican corporate executive.
He does, and he does it very well,
Right.
actually.
Well, that's like Stephen Colbert doing a shtick, right? When he was a Republican, whatever.
Back when Stephen Colbert was funny. Yeah, that was good. I miss those days.
But in that same vein, I feel like he's definitely, and he's injected his opinion into things that he probably shouldn't have injected his opinion into, which is the reason why a bunch of people are piling on him now, talking about, hey, what comes around goes around kind of thing. Yeah. And whatever. Here we are.
I don't think he intentionally shot the woman, but I do think there was a wanton disregard for basic safety measures on the entire film set. The idea that this happened means there was a failure somewhere.
Right. There was negligence someplace, and somebody should be held responsible for sure.
I agree with that. Yeah. And then Twitter, of course, turns it into the worst thing ever, saying, like, this shows how corrupt our justice system is, that Alec Baldwin's going to be tried and Kyle Rittenhouse is a free man.
Just disconnect from reality.
It's amazing. Like, I forgot that Kyle Rittenhouse wasn't tried.
I say this on the regular, and I've said this on the show and said this to you and probably in real life, is there's 8 billion individual realities on this planet, right? Everybody has their own reality. Everybody lives their own experiences. Everybody sees things through their own eyes, and they create this house of cards, if you will. Everybody has their own house of cards.
Sure.
Where you're like, hey, this is my house of cards. And I'm amazed on how many people, specifically to the Rittenhouse thing, who are still like in this alternative reality that just does not exist.
Yep.
That's crazy. They think he shot black people too sometimes.
Yeah. Like,
I'm like, he shot 3 white people.
Yeah, and one was a pedophile.
Yeah, one was a pedophile. One like out on probation, like burning down gas station. The dude who died literally pushed a flaming dumpster into a gas station, trying to blow it up. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
he was probably just about to turn his life around.
Somebody corrected his behavior.
God.
All right.
And again, it's a terrible situation
for sure.
But we all want to have these strong opinions on things that we know like 40% of the information about. Because I can promise you, even I didn't watch the whole Kyle Rittenhouse trial, but watching the testimony that I did see and piecing together the facts as they were entered into the record, there was no possible way you could have found that kid guilty. It was not possible. Like, well, he crossed state lines. No, he didn't. Like,
I love that.
The fact that you're still saying that tells me you didn't pay any attention to this trial whatsoever, but you want to have a strong opinion. I'm telling you, with my brief legal background, looking at the facts of the case as they were entered into the record that the trial was based on, there was no possible way you could have found the kid guilty.
Yeah. And I do think there was I didn't get into this, but we didn't get into this, but there's I think the armorer was charged in this case too. I feel like somebody else was charged, so it might not just be Alec Baldwin taking the hit, but we'll follow this and see how it turns out here. But all right, let's update our audience on another crazy thing that we talk about here, but on the regular. Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes.
So let me read this headline. Jess Staley, who is the former boss of Barclays, and among other things, had profound friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, court documents claim. Now, this is coming out through the Virgin Islands case that is suing JP Morgan, basically saying they knew Epstein was a pedophile and they were helping him facilitate the paying of victims and the whole enterprise and whatnot. And it turns out Jess Staley was, I don't know, CEO of JP Morgan at that time. And the allegations in here are not that he just knew that the money was being facilitated, that he was actually present with the women while this abuse was happening. So it's not just, the bank knew that was happening. It's like this individual person who was running the bank was participating and helped facilitate the money. I don't want to read what I'm going to read here because YouTube will not allow me to read it, I don't think. But this profound friendship with Jeffrey Epstein seems disturbing. Listen, this dude is a little bit persona non grata at this point, at least in the financial institutions, at least in public. Like nobody's embracing this dude anymore. But
he should call Bill Clinton.
Yeah. Between 2008 and 2012, so this is well after the first arrest and sentence of Jeffrey Epstein. Between 2008 and 2012, Staley exchanged approximately 1,200 emails with Epstein from his JP Morgan email account.
How many?
1,200. Do you think they were just like talking about dinner reservations?
I don't think I've emailed anybody 1,200 times in my entire life. I don't think cumulatively I've emailed all of my clients 1,200 times. Maybe I need to step my game up. Good Lord.
They also reveal Staley corresponded with Epstein while Epstein was incarcerated in Florida during his sweetheart deal stay, where he was open to go. He was in jail, but he could leave anytime he wanted. Weird.
That's the best ever. You want to talk about a two-tier justice system of this guy was literally just pled guilty to.
They gave him a whole wing in the Justice Center. They're like, you can have this wing. Nobody else will be here, and you can come and go as you want.
You just come and go. Your helicopter can pick you up. You can fly out as long as you have to work. Like,
just check in with us when you come back.
Right. It's amazing. And this is for a guy that was accused of, I don't remember how many actual allegations there were, like how many different girls.
Hundreds.
But it was north of 100 women that accused this man of being a pedophile. And they were like, all right, we're going to put you into a jail, but we're going to give you your own wing of the jail. Your people can come and go as they please. You can come and go as you please, but you got to try to spend some nights here. And he's like,
all right,
fine.
Can I have girls over? Yes. Okay. You know that happened, right?
Of course that happened.
ridiculous. Anyway, I'm going to keep covering this story because I'm still surprised that this. I mean, I don't know how maybe you have a better idea how this lawsuit could eventually go away if the U.S. Virgin Islands wanted it to go away. But obviously, we covered how the Attorney General or the District Attorney, I can't remember now, Attorney General for the U.S. Virgin Islands, she was terminated for bringing this case forward by the governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands. But the case still goes forward. So somebody else is now trying the case, which makes me think it's not being, the effort is probably not being put forth since, first of all, the first person got fired for doing it. So if you're next in line, you're like, oh, well, I'll just pick up and do what she's doing. So I get fired too, right? No, that's probably not going to happen. So, or the second in line is controlled opposition and basically going to allow certain questioning and not allow other questioning, right? So who knows how this is all going to unfold. I have way less confidence in this lawsuit now that I think Denise Richards, I think is her name, was fired. But still allegations like this are coming out. So, I mean, listen, again, the people like Jess Staley here and who's the dude from Apollo? I can't think of his name. Leon Black, right?
Okay.
Like these guys aren't, even though they were some of the richest, most powerful people in the world, especially in the financial institutions, like they're nobodies now. Like nobody knows who they are, unless you're paying attention to this kind of story or you're some financial anything. Like you don't know any of these names, but the amount of money that these people had and could facilitate for Epstein is, unlimited, literally unlimited. So, I don't know. I'm going to keep following this case as long as information keeps coming out, but this was unexpected revelations, I guess, after the original Attorney General was let go.
It's wild. This whole case it continues to get weirder as time goes on. Of like, I said this before, I'm a pretty forgiving guy. I'm a pretty understanding human being. I'll let a lot slide and just move forward. I'm very loyal to my friends. If I find out one of my friends has engaged in north of 200 acts of pedophilia, that's pretty much a deal breaker. Like, we're good here. Never mind. Clearly, you are not the person I thought you were, and you can't tell me like this was a one-off mistake. I didn't know how old she was, et cetera, et cetera. Like, at some point, you paying marginalized 15-year-old girls to do this stuff with you, and then paying them to recruit other girls to do it for you. I'm not hanging out with you anymore. So the idea that this went on, and even if you didn't know what he was doing early on, which I call bullshit, but okay, fine. After he was arrested and pled guilty to it, and it was this sweetheart deal was granted and everything else, why is Bill Gates hanging out? Why is Bill Clinton still going around?
Why is Jess Staley taking his own personal yacht, the Bakia, by the way, to Epstein's Island in 2015?
It's a fair question. Like, why are all these people still, like, what was so unique? There's never been a better answer to this question than Bill Gates literally trying to claim that the reason that he was meeting with Jeffrey Epstein so often was for philanthropic reasons. Like, Bill Gates, you have more money than you could spend in 3 lifetimes, but you wanted to talk to Jeffrey Epstein about what money he could donate, and you felt like that his money was worth so much. Because why? Like, there's no money that Jeffrey Epstein can raise that Bill Gates can't. So the idea that you went and met knowingly with a sexual predator on his island, oh, God. And then you get into the real weird stuff in the ranch, and he had, like, the whole setup going on down there to, like,
clone people-ish.
Yeah, or like repopulate the earth in Jeff Epstein's own image.
But he knows the micronova's coming.
Another day. But all the same, listen, if you look into this stuff, it's weird. And so now somebody sues and like, look, obviously the banks knew what was happening. This guy's taking his yacht to Little St. James.
In 2015. So like,
I can't.
It's not like there's... He knew. I mean, this is the whole point: is that JP Morgan knew what was going on. Jess Staley was participating.
Yeah,
like that's crazy.
It's insanity.
And I'm assuming Leon Black has been accused of participating as well. So like, which is
yeah, I think that's correct. I think that it's likely. And now, did I see this correctly? That Ghislaine Maxwell's sister has been at Davos all week.
Oh, possibly. Listen, have you ever done any research on her two sisters?
No, just on her father. Oh boy.
All right, I'll send you a link.
Oh boy.
It's beyond absurd. Literally beyond absurd.
It's hilarious.
Like so one of them was help founding of a software network that was like a back end software thing that basically just collected data, and she basically worked for the Mossad. Like it was literally like she was just it's the whole thing is just messed. I don't know, I'll send you a link. Anyway, let's move on. What do I got up here next? Oh, the hero of the day, Mr. Hussong. What if I told you that there was a doctor's office, a plastic surgeon office in particular, in Utah, and a handful of nurses that participated in what can only be called as an act of heroism in my book. What?
I don't disagree.
That had I don't know, I'm going to call it an underground railroad of patients who was people who needed a vaccination to participate in some kind of life activity or wanted to have it for but did not actually want the vaccine. So this doctor and nurses provided upwards of 2,000 fake vaccine cards after disposing of the vaccine and giving saline injections to those patients. So yes, we'll give some applause to this gentleman here. Dr. Michael J. Kirk Moore is charged along with 3 women in Utah. I'm assuming those are the nurses that work for his office there. So if I have this right, now mind you, I was, sharing the blank vaccine card as many places as I could along the way through the last 2 years. Anytime, so I had dozens of people literally ask me for this on the down low and DMs, and I provided it to them without any.
You posted it on Facebook and said, for whoever needs this.
I would post it as a photo comment. They don't do the photo comments anymore on Syracuse.com, but I used to post it as a photo comment on any time they brought up the vaccine. I was like, here's the card. So this office, and kudos to this office here, took it upon themselves to basically save the lives of 2,000 people-ish. And,
well, if they did it 2,000 times, they realistically probably only saved like 25 lives.
That's pathetic that we're at that high of a number. I mean, they charge $50 a pop. I don't even have a qualms with them profiting off this at all. It's only $50, and they had to take a lot of risk on to make this happen. Obviously, they were arrested, so the risk was fulfilled here. So go ahead.
Again, if you're listening, I know because I read it. What is illegal? So I go.
It's the disposing of the government property, right?
That's such bullshit, and you know it. Because literally, like, let's walk through this real quick. I don't want to take this vaccine, but my job requires that I take a vaccine. Okay, fine. So I hear about this, and look, not for nothing, they had a system in place. If you had to put a little orange thing in with the Venmo, and then they were careful. They were not like, they knew what they were doing. So they say, all right, you come in, you go see them, they give you the vaccine card. And only if you were under 18, then they gave you a saline shot, because they said for kids, like if I didn't want my kids to get vaccinated, but you're Utah, California, that area of the country, I'm assuming the rules are very similar. To go to school, they got to have it, or to not wear a mask, or to do whatever. Okay. I don't want my kid to get it for obvious reasons. So I go to this doctor and say, listen, can you just give me a card? I'll pay you for it, no problem. And the doctor goes, I got you, no problem. So the doctor then puts saline in my kid, gives me the vaccination card. Let's say me, my wife, and 4 children. That's 6 times 50, $300. Everybody's covered. Great. Now we know, moral issues aside, if you're a firm believer in the COVID vaccine blocking transmission, well, let's be real, you're probably not listening to this show, but on the off chance you're out there.
If you stumbled upon us today.
let's put that off to the side. Legally speaking, what is the crime? Like, what is the crime? This is literally the definition of a voluntary transaction. I paid you money to give me this service. So it's not illegal. There's nothing illegal about that. And so then they disposed of the vaccines that they got so that way they
contaminated the drinking water. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Maybe. Contaminated the wastewater even further. Good God. So at that point, what is the crime? What is illegal? And this is what I think is absolute nonsense is they are charging them for destruction of government property. Now, forgive me, but if you send me a vaccine as a provider, right, and I don't pay you for them, you're just sending them out, and then I get rid of it, how is that still your property? How in the world is that still government property at that point in time? What about all the ones that went bad? Are we going to start charging all the doctors' offices that had vaccines expired? Because I feel like you're on a dangerous path right here. There is no way this should be illegal. If you want to make the claim about its fraud of getting out of everything else, good luck. I mean, you're going to have a hell of a time establishing that cause of action. And even then, it's certainly not rising to the level of criminal fraud. So what is the crime? If all you've got, and this is my other favorite part of this entire story, is the FBI sent undercover agents to go do this. That's how they found out. That's how they caught him. Like, why does the FBI care about this? Honest to God, you can't go like create and thwart another terror plot. You got to go after people that are literally, nobody's forcing these people to get a fake vaccine.
Yeah. It wasn't like they did it like without the patient's knowledge, right?
It's not like I went in and
was an agreed upon
the vaccine, and they were like, nah.
Both parties, both adults, both walked out of there in complete happy with the transaction.
Right. And that's my point is there is no way that this should be illegal. If they were lying, in the same way that, listen, if I go into a doctor's office, and my stance on vaccines here is pretty well known at this point, if I went into a doctor and they said, hey, look, while you're here, we got to give you this COVID vaccine. I said, no, I don't want it. They're like, all right, no problem. Well, here's what we'll do then. We'll give you something else. We're just going to give you a flu shot. Like, okay. And then it turns out they stuck the other one in me. Yeah, no, that should be illegal.
Yeah.
Right. But that's not what happened here. The person went in and said, I don't want this. And they didn't charge them with forgery. They didn't charge them with that. They charged them with destruction of government property.
I know some states tried to make the fake vaccine an instrument of fraud or whatever. I don't know anything about if Utah did or didn't, so I don't know if that's even part of the discussion here at all. But yeah, it's a made up charge. I mean, it's literally just a way of
scaring you.
Yeah, and listen, could he lose his medical license? I'm guessing that's possible, right? So
sure.
And I'm guessing all these people might be able to not participate in their desired field of employment after this incident. That being said,
are you allowed to release those names though if you're the FBI who went there? Because you still got HIPAA protection. You still can't talk about the interactions between a doctor and a patient.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Hopefully that never comes out. But this is making me think about reconsidering an offer that one of the members at the club once made to me, saying that I was his favorite bartender. But if only I wish I had cleavage. So this guy's making me want to get boob job just to give him some money. Think that would help my tips?
You took that to a weird place.
You think that would help my tips?
No.
I could wear low-cut shirts, and then I could get away with worse service. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, what is wrong with you?
I don't know. I'm just airing grievances.
You're pretty enough, man. All right, we don't need to add cleavage in.
Oh God.
No, I again, if he loses his medical license, okay, that makes sense as a punishment. I disagree with it, but it makes sense as a punishment because you're doing things outside of what your licensing body would want you to do. Fine. Illegal? Come on.
Yeah, a little crazy. But kudos to Dr. Michael J. Kirk and let's see, I'll get all the names in here. Carrie D. Burgoy, I don't know how to pronounce that. Kristen Jackson Anderson and Sandra Flores. Kudos to all of you, and hopefully you get to rekindle your careers in some other state or some other walk of life that allows you to continue to be heroes. So on that note, we talked about this once before, and today I have it up here. ChatGPT, Mr. Hussong. That's what I shared with you.
I figured.
Passes Wharton MBA exam while also qualifying for medical license in the U.S. What do you make of ChatGPT, Dr. AI, coming to heal all the ill of the world here through artificial intelligence? So those of you who don't know, ChatGPT is an AI generator for text. So like you can kind of, which is what I did. I said, tell me the life story of Ben Hussong, and they said you didn't exist. So that means
I'm good with
so you're probably really are.
Thinking I
I'm
don't
pretty
exist.
sure you're just a Fed. So they're like, cover this up. Ben Hussong cannot be known. But what do you think about this AI? People, I didn't read in to see like what the how they did this. Like if they had the test in front of them and they were just entering the questions into ChatGPT and getting the answers that way. But pretty crazy that it basically can be a lawyer and a doctor. Doesn't. Oh yeah, whatever.
Masters in business. Yeah. This. Yeah, it scares me. Like I'm gonna go in two very different directions with this. The first part, remember Jurassic Park? Jeff Goldblum's like infamous line of, "You were so busy trying to figure out if you could do it that you didn't stop to think if you should do it." Yeah. Like I feel like we're messing with things that we can't possibly understand. Usually that doesn't go great.
I have ChatGPT pulled up. Would you like me to enter something into the ChatGPT here?
No.
And see? Yeah, we're gonna do it.
Oh God Almighty!
I already tried to tell me the story of Super Bowl 52, which doesn't happen yet.
Okay.
So I tried to see if they could give me the winner of the Super Bowl 52 ahead of time.
No luck.
And literally a message I got was, my information only goes to 2021. So like so whatever happens couldn't be, so they don't have 22 information, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so I don't really have I should have probably come up with a list of topics to discuss here on ChatGPT.
Who is Jeffrey Epstein?
I did put Jeffrey Epstein and FTX into my thing, and it said there's no known connection between FTX, and I was like, it's only 2021. They don't have 2022's information yet, so we're gonna try to make that connection in some later show here because there seems to be tentacles between the two. But anyway, we don't have to play ChatGPT, but I do have it pulled up. So if you think about something, we'll figure it out. So again, we talked about this a couple weeks ago when the New York City schools banned ChatGPT on site, for their devices and networks, where they feared that these students were gonna cheat. Yeah, I guess the similar thing happened when Google was around, but I was too old to appreciate that. Google was not around when I was in high school. But
yeah, I think banning it is not going to work, and I'll maintain that. I think it's all a terrible idea, and I wish they would ban it. I wish we didn't invent it. I wish we didn't do this. But here we are. And so you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Like, you can't pretend like this doesn't exist now. I don't know what it is about us as a species that we are, like, determined to do this to ourselves, but, whatever. Look, maybe this all comes out as benevolent and wonderful and happy. But it's not a given. I guess that's my fear of, like, what are we getting for this that's so important that we must do it? Well, what's going to happen to ChatGPT after the solar flare or the supernova?
Everything goes down there, so it's out.
Okay. All right. Well, that's too bad.
So you got what, 2020? You got 23 years.
Okay. I got a lot to do.
Yeah. You better get that.
I'm
You're going to have to make it a 5-season room, the 5th season being Apocalypse.
I could put the bunker right below.
You're going to have to get one of those Tesla umbrella, the electric lightning umbrellas that he makes. They're kind of like lightning rods, but they disperse electricity around whatever's underneath it. You need to get one of those for your 4-season room.
Okay.
Then it'll be a 5-season room.
Obviously.
All right. So we'll keep an eye on ChatGPT and what chaos they're going to be causing over the next weeks and months. But if you haven't already and you made it this far into the show, please like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel. Leave us a 5-star rate and review whenever you can pull over safely and do that. So a couple more topics for you here.
Yep.
We covered Davos, the World Economic Forum, last week a little bit, kind of showed some people who were participating. Who's who of
the worst people imaginable.
Yeah, like if I'm pretty much anti-nuclear wars and nuclear bombs, but if there was ever a spot, what? Just saying. Like it couldn't, whoops.
If we're gonna be in the business of trading lives, like I get it. I get where you're coming from.
All I'm saying is if ever. But anyway, our boy Elon Musk has kind of put out a warning. This is via his new favorite toy, Twitter. Let me see if I can get this up for you guys here. Here we are. Let me see if I can pull up his tweet here in this article here. Let me read the headline first. From the Post Millennial. Elon Musk says World Economic Forum is unelected world government that people never asked for and don't want. Seems pretty
accurate.
Much on pretty based, yeah. So I think it's the first time I used the word based on the show.
I think it is too, actually.
Maybe only the third time I've ever used it in my whole life, outside of baseball diamond. But anyway, so we talked about how this is basically like a public Bilderberger group. I mean, it's the same stuff that's going on in this thing that everybody was a conspiracy. Now they're like, well, they're onto the conspiracy. So let's just put it out in the open and put a facade on it. And we'll say it's the World Economic Forum and we're saving the world from climate and hate speech and whatever the other things, COVID. And I think it's just a front, if you will, for the same nonsense, or not sense, but the same kind of discussions and decisions that are being made at such Bilderberg groups. So I think he echoes a lot of. I think Elon here echoes a lot of people's sentiment. Is that why? How did these people get in? Started ruling our lives here? Because a lot of what these people do, we pointed to Kevin McCarthy, for example, our new Speaker of the House, is associated with the World Economic Forum. Prime Minister Trudeau, Canada, World Economic Forum. Like, there's a bunch of you could go through where you could say, oh, well, these aren't elected leaders. No crap. These specifically aren't, but the people who work for this company or this outfit eventually turn into elected officials and implement this dystopian worldview on people. So Bitcoin back above 23,000, Mr. Hussong.
Nice.
I like it. I don't know. Do you have any Klaus Schwab hot takes?
Yeah, did you see the video of him talking about the next
Let's pull
cyber
up.
attack?
I'm going to pull up that dude's video of DAVOS, the Bancel. Was it Bancel or whatever?
No, it's Albert Bourla from
Yeah,
Pfizer.
I'm going to find that so we can play.
Yeah, I think these people are nuts, and I think that we have it's like an egomania ceremony. It's like the people that think they are the smartest and the best and the brightest, and they know what's better for you and for me.
Eat bugs and like it.
Yeah, you'll own nothing and be happy and whatever else. And I don't understand the mindset you have to be in, or how you get to the point where you have a genuine desire to tell other people how to live. I just don't. I can't wrap my brain around viewing the world that way. And I guess from my side of it, it's look. I think there are certain things that would be better for most people, but if you want to go and chain smoke Marb Reds and die at 45, okay.
Mr. Bourla, can I ask you?
Go ahead. Sorry, I'm going to pull this up for you guys.
That's all right. So instead, we're supposed to believe that these people are so much smarter and better and brighter than us. But why do they want to control everything we do? And the idea of Albert Bourla, who literally has perpetrated more frauds through Pfizer than any company in the history of existence, who has harmed countless numbers of people. That company has caused so much death, it is unbelievable to actually fathom it. And the fact that we don't know about it is weird. The fact that that's not regularly covered. We only know, if I bring up the opioid crisis, everybody's like, oh yeah, Purdue Pharma. Like, you think they were the only one? No, they weren't the only one. Pfizer was in on it too. Merck was in on it too. Like, these companies are terrible. And now listening to the arrogance with which these people talk about everything drives me crazy.
Well, let's bring up this video.
Okay.
This is from Rebel News. I think they're maybe they're Canadian-based. I don't know. They have either Canadian, Australian, whatever. They have some international reporting thing. But they're at Davos, and they're just basically hanging around in this fake city that they built up for this event and hanging out here. And they happen to come across Mr. Albert Bourla. So let's play this video. Albert Bourla is the CEO of Moderna? Pfizer. Oh, yeah. The Bancel's Moderna.
Stefan Bancel.
They look like each other, too, which is kind of weird.
It is.
All right. So this is multiple Rebel News reporters basically confronting Albert Bourla outside of walking from, and it's, if you guys watching at home, you can see he gets disoriented a little bit in the walk, and he's trapped, and he has to walk around, and he's clearly agitated by the whole thing. So let's see what we got.
When did you know that the vaccines didn't stop transmission? How long did you know that without saying it publicly?
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry. Answer that question. I mean, we now know that the vaccines didn't stop transmission, but why did you keep it secret? You said it was 100% effective, then 90%, then 80%, then 70%. But we now know that the vaccines do not stop transmission. Why did you keep that secret?
Have a nice day.
I won't have a nice day until I know the answer. Why did you keep it a secret that your vaccine did not stop transmission?
Is it time to apologise to the world, sir? To give refunds back to the countries that poured all their money into your vaccine that doesn't work, your ineffective vaccine? Are you not ashamed of what you've done in the last couple of years?
Do you have any apologies to the public, sir?
Are you proud of it? You've made millions on the backs of people's entire livelihoods. How does that feel to walk the streets as a millionaire on the backs of the regular person at home in Australia, in England, in Canada?
What do you think about on your yacht, sir? What do you think about on your private jet? Are you worried about product liability? Are you worried about myocarditis?
What about the sudden deaths?
What do you have to say about young men dropping dead of heart attacks every day? Why won't you answer these basic questions?
No apology, sir.
Do you think you should be charged criminally for some of the criminal behaviour you've obviously been a part of?
How much money have you personally made off the vaccine?
How many boosters do you think it'll take for you to be happy enough with your earnings? Nothing?
So this goes on a little for another 4 minutes here, basically of the same thing. These guys berating them with questions, legitimate questions, not,
Some of them are legitimate questions.
Yeah, I mean,
do you have any shame is not a legitimate question.
I mean, do you think you should be charged? It's probably not a legitimate question either. But the idea holds, right? So these guys, this guy, he's probably never been asked any of these questions in real life, with somebody who's literally looking for the answer anyway. So I would tell you to go watch that full video if you'd like. Again, it's about 6 minutes long. Rebel News on Twitter is where you can get it. One of the reporters is Avi Yemeni. The other one was Ezra Levant. So those are the two guys asking questions. Follow them along. They kind of hit on a bunch of this stuff. This is at least the second time they've been at Davos that I know. They kind of did a whole expose on when I keep calling it a fake city. Literally, it's a fake city. I don't know if you saw this. They build these grand storefronts off these old buildings. So they have like older buildings, and then they literally create a new construction facade on the front of them. So it looks like when you walk in, then you're going into an old building or whatever. It's a fake city. They build this whole fake city for this event. It's crazy. But anyway, you can go look up that too on the same thing on Rebel News. So
maybe some people do have too much money. It's possible.
I mean, it's a whole racket here, this thing. So anyway, obviously check out Rebel News, check out those guys, and you can kind of get a gist of how that video went there. So let's wrap it up here, Mr. Hussong.
My God.
Yeah, I don't know where to start with this here. So let's start with our lead, I don't know if you saw, did you see my graphic that I made for the show, Mr. Hussong?
I don't think so.
Where I had a demolition piece of equipment on top of Joe Biden's head, and I have a demolition warning sign there, basically saying demolition in progress.
I like it.
Because I'm of the opinion, and I don't think I'm alone in this, is that this whole document thing is a convenient finding, if you will. 3 days after the House takes control of the House, or the GOP takes control of the House, all of a sudden the FBI or his agents come through and we're like, hey, by the way, or this is aides for Biden. Oh, we found some documents in here or there, and then a garage there, and now the FBI, that's going to be the successor to the FBA somehow. Searches deepens political implications for Biden document discovery. So the FBI is now investigating, looking at and for additional documents, classified documents. This is, again, to me, this is just a convenient way to take down Biden without embarrassing him too much. I mean, he's an embarrassment every time he wakes up. Yep. If he wakes up. The idea that, I don't understand why they just don't say, hey, you know what? I'm old, man. I did my thing. I'm just stepping down. But no, they have to come up with this fake thing to basically get him out of office. So I don't know if he's really like entrenched into the position of president and like, I'm holding out. And now he's like, got a handful of, well, less than a handful now of people surrounding him, giving him that advice that he's the best and he should stay in it and 2024 is real and whatnot. And then the rest of the party and apparatus that is the establishment basically saying, we got to get this guy out of here. He's, he's a useful idiot. We've already figured out how to do what we need to do. Now we need to get him off the stage in a way that doesn't make us look whatever. And I think this is just a convenient way to do that. We got the resignation of Ron Klain. He's the chief of staff, the head puppeteer, the guy who's been basically pulling the strings for this guy for years, but specifically the last couple of years, probably making most of the decisions. He stepped down. And of course, at least they gave him, they replaced him with his former head of COVID strategery or whatever it was. So we got that to look forward to. A guy who was basically trying to mask us all up and lock us all down. He loses to both Trump and DeSantis in polling. I mean, I think me and you both, or maybe, I don't know, I can't remember it now. Maybe you said he was, but I can't imagine that he's running in 2024. If you ever thought so, do you still think so?
I didn't think so. I still don't, because he shouldn't. It makes no sense. The only pause I have is, if not him, who?
Sure. Listen, I'm as, if you want to play the, okay, it's a foregone conclusion that the Republicans are going to win in 2024, you just run nobody up there. You can run Beto O'Rourke or Stacey Abrams again if you want. I don't really care. Like, they're born losers. They don't have to put up anybody in 2024, I guess is my point.
You're thinking they're going to concede 2024 outright.
Yeah.
And then maybe take some time to get another candidate.
Because to your point, they don't have anybody. Like,
No,
obviously it's not
empty.
Kamala, right? I mean, she has a worse rating than Biden, which is
hilarious.
somehow real. We mentioned the California and the New York governor, Newsom and Cuomo. I think they're likely candidates, but I don't think either one of them win.
So I got to tell you this real quick because I forgot to send this to you and I meant to. There was a comedian, and I don't remember his name, but I'll figure it out later. And he did a special, I think, on Amazon. But he said he put something out on the internet that was like, these are the jokes that Amazon wouldn't let me air. Maybe he hosted the Golden Globe. I don't know. But it was funny. Because he said, political news, Kamala Harris became the first woman of Indian and South Asian descent to hold public office as an African American. I was like, that's perfect. That's a well done joke, and I get why they didn't let you do it. But it's a shame that that's where we are. To your point, can't run Kamala, she can't get any polling. Can't run Gavin Newsom because outside of the true blue enclaves, he ain't going to carry anything. You can't do Andrew Cuomo because he's pissed off too many people in the party. You can retread Hillary out there and try that again. That might be.
I almost threw up in my mouth.
I'm just saying. Let's not rule it out. Or
Chelsea Clinton.
Maybe.
I'm saving her.
Listen, if we're gonna go with politicians' kids, let's make 2024
Biden
the year and let's let Hunter Biden run for president. Let's just see how this goes.
What about John Fetterman?
Oh God,
he could Fetterman 2024. What?
I can't believe John Fetterman is
he's got some
US
momentum.
Senator.
He's got a lot of momentum on his side, Mr. Hussong. But I don't think that they have anybody in 2024. So I do think that they need to develop somebody, whoever that is. I have no idea. I mean, maybe there's somebody they can, they're
going to try to change the laws, and they're going to bring Zelensky over and have him run.
It's fair.
You heard it here first.
Wow. Can't wait. So I do think they have a little bit of time to find a replacement, but I think this is, I don't know. I think that there's going to be some kind of, especially when Biden dies, oh my God, they're going to pile on him. We're like, oh, he made us do it. He was terrible. He did all this stuff. It was all his ideas. They're all going to point to that dude when he's dead as the reason for all the ills of the world. So his own party, I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to throw him under the bus
quickly
as many times as they possibly can because he's easy. He's an easy target, right? So anyway, I don't know. I'm of the opinion that Biden, there's zero chance that he was ever running in 2024, and even though he said he was, I still never believed him. The dude doesn't know where he is half of the day. So I think the scandal, quote unquote scandal around this is just convenience. I think the resignation of people like Klain are writing on the wall kind of things like, hey, almost like he's signaling, I'm not doing this. Like, we're not doing this. I'm out. And so, I don't know, maybe there's a small handful of Biden supporters that are internally, his wife and, I don't know, the new guy here, Jeff Zientis. What's his name here?
I don't know.
I can find out for you. I have it pulled up here. Jeff Zients, a former Obama administration official and close Biden confidant. Zients ran the White House COVID response, winning internal praise. Of course he did. From his cross-government management skills and initial success, blah, blah, blah. So maybe this guy and his wife still think Biden 2024 is a thing, but he's not running. Nothing's happening. Like, I can't see that being a thing. I said both Trump and DeSantis are currently beating Biden in a hypothetical 2024. In that same poll, something like 65 or 69% of the people thought Biden shouldn't run again. I mean, like, it was the headwinds are strong for this Biden 2024 thing. So I don't know. I don't think he runs. I think this is just the beginning of the end for him. You know, whatever comes of this classified documents, like, I don't expect Biden to be serving any jail time, but maybe he used it as, a convenient excuse to be like, oh, I'm too old to be securing classified documents anymore. Sometimes I wipe my ass with them in the toilet, so here I am, and sorry, but here we go. So I don't know what happens from them in 2024, but it won't be Biden.
I could see them doing something to that effect with the falling on the sword over the classified documents as a way to pin it back on Trump of like, see, this is what you should do. Look at the integrity of this man who just said, you know what? It's ultimately I bear responsibility, and as such, I will not be seeking another term.
Yeah, totally.
Even though I did nothing wrong and it was all an accident and it was a partisan probe. Yeah, I could see it. But I don't think the Democrats are just going to concede a presidential election.
I mean, concede, I say that only because they don't have anybody. And if you're not going to put, if they do think that it's a Republican year and that they can't win, then you're not going to put up your best candidates because it's a knock, right? So it's like a scar and they lose. So that's why I think you can put up, I don't know, you can put up any of the retreads from the 2006, the Klobuchars of the world, like all those people, I forgot about Amy Klobuchar. The people who were in that primary all could run again.
I could get on board with Amy Klobuchar.
Other than Buttigieg.
Literally because apparently like the big gripe against her was that she threw binders at her young staff when they were being idiots. Like, okay. Like, all right, so she throws binders at millennials and I'm supposed to feel bad about this? Like, get them.
Yeah, but like I said, like Buttigieg's not a thing, right? He's been terrible as transportation secretary, so like he's not.
I didn't know you could screw that job up.
Well, you just take maternity leave and then you just let the shit run into the ground. He basically, as head of the transportation, decided that squeaky sound that he was hearing when he was trying to apply the brakes was, it just turns up the volume and the brake pads went away and he just rode the car into the ditch.
It's a fair point.
Yeah. So I don't know who runs, but it's a losing cause for that party anyway. So, all right, Mr. Hussong, anything else?
No.
I think we've covered a little bit of stuff for what I felt was a very poor news cycle.
We never even talked about the fact that Tucker Carlson broke down that the CIA also was responsible for Watergate.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, well, you sent me that link.
I texted my one friend, I sent it to him, I was like, do I like Tucker Carlson? He goes, no, you just hate the government. Like, oh, yeah, all right, that makes way more sense.
And like I said, and Tucker definitely has his, he has his moments where he's kind of he's excellent at, I don't know what the right word is here, but like inflating or over-exaggerating, uses just enough of the right words to kind of push the idea to the extremist point that he has the facts to back up, which is I love because he's kind of pushing buttons a little bit. But I don't know, Tucker's growing on me over the last couple of years. I mean, he's covering the things that I want news people to cover, right? And so whether or not he's right or wrong about it, he's at least covering the subject, and that's why I think that's what news is for. They should be injecting ideas into the discussion, and we should be hashing them out in person somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. We didn't cover.
Maybe we talk about a little bit about that next time. But that's fascinating. Like 4 of the 5 burglars were CIA. That's weird.
Woodward came out of nowhere as a reporter. Like he all of a sudden
worked for the FBI.
Yeah. He was like come out of the Navy or something, and then they're like, oh well, we have this. We're the potential impeachment of the U.S. president. We're going to give it to this guy
because he's been here 8 minutes.
Because he's been here.
Yeah. Or like the idea of Gerald Ford was on the Warren Commission and then he got
Whoops.
Then who was the Mondale? Was that no? Who's the VP? It's a weird name.
Lyndon Johnson. What are you talking about?
No, Nixon's VP.
Oh, Agnew.
Yeah, Agnew was like, oh, tax evasion, you're out, and Gerald Ford's in, and now Gerald Ford's president. Like, oh,
yeah,
that's weird. Look at how that all ties together so nicely.
Nothing is what it appears, Mr. Hussong. Nothing ever is.
Ugh.
All right. On that note, folks, we will let you go for another week. Actually, there can be no show next week, Mr. Hussong. I know I'm traveling on that Monday.
Well,
so.
All right, done.
So no show next week. If we have a show in 2 weeks, we'll cross that bridge somehow when we get there. I'll make an announcement one way or the other. Maybe we'll pre-record something or whatnot. But look for us 2 weeks from today. I'll update us either way. But on the way out, if you can hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. Again, leave us that 5-star rate and review if you're listening at home on the audio, wherever you get your podcast there. And Mr. Hussong, would you like to leave anybody with some any enlightening words for a couple weeks?
I don't have anything.
Excellent. On that note, we'll see you all in 2 weeks.